epic final. Novak Djokovic, Carlos Alcaraz. We saw it in Wimbledon, and we're going to get it at the US Open. He's going to be able to handle a situation in a Grand Slam final against Djokovic because he's beaten him in one. I'm going for Carlos Alcaraz.
The main man, the number 24, Novak Djokovic. US Open time, baby! Let's go! Gauff could be our US Open champion.
3-set final in which Iga wins. Near on near impossible that Djokovic doesn't make the final.
Novak Djokovic claiming his 24th Grand Slam title. On the women's side, going past bingo.
No surprise here. I think that Novak Djokovic will win this year's US Open, and Coco Gauff is going to be the American that wins it on the women's side.
That Novak Djokovic will win this Grand Slam, beating Alcaraz in the final. I believe that Sabalenka is going to ace up this Grand Slam.
Sabalenka and Djokovic take it.
Novak Djokovic will have as many Grand Slams as there are hours in the day. Ons Jabeur is going to do it. I really believe. I think Ons has learned from her mistakes.
Novak Djokovic is going to win the US Open.
Aryna Sabalenka is winning her second Grand Slam. Carlos Alcaraz is going back-to-back. He's going to defend his US Open title.
Coco Gauff on home soil is taking home the cake. Gauff will win.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. The US Open, day one in the books. And we've had some big upsets. We've had some regulars cruising through as well. And it's good to see all of our people. Their predictions are still standing strong so far. There were a few I was worried that were going to take a tumble in the first round, but no one so far, which is good to see. So I don't have to change that intro just yet, JG.
Yeah, and there's some great tennis players getting laser eye surgery at the moment because Novak Djokovic looked laser sharp in that opening round. We know Jay Genius is a great player on the tennis court. Djokovic emulating him, and he was not missing. There was a period in that match where I thought we're going to be looking at a triple bagel. This was a high-level Novak Djokovic. He was against Muller, most famously known for yogurts. Not for his tennis, and really, it was a bit of a mismatch, just like Iga was against Peterson as well. I think the big story wasn't really Djokovic because we expected him to look good. But one thing I want to touch on Novak Djokovic is there's been many times on the opening day of a Grand Slam we've come on here and we've said Djokovic looked a little bit slow. He lost the first set. He went to a tie break. He wasn't quite himself, or he was a bit off balance, or there was an incident happening. There was none of it. I've never really seen him start a Grand Slam as brilliantly as he has done yesterday. And I think everyone's in for a really difficult time if they want to stop him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, he's coming off a fantastic performance in Cincinnati. I said it before in the draw preview, I think it was, or the draw reaction, that you couldn't really handpick a better person to be playing in the first round as well. Muller, he coming off the back of 6 matches in a row that he's lost, and Djokovic has made it 7 in a row for him. So somebody very low on confidence. Easy win for Djokovic normally, even if he was playing his best, but playing the way he's been playing lately. If he lost in straight sets to Benjamin Bonzi, I expected Djokovic to absolutely annihilate him. And this is what happened. Easy bagel for Djokovic. And, like you said, now he is going to be moving back to the number 1 spot. That win was all he needed to ensure that when this tournament finishes, he will be back at the top of the tree again. Maybe he'll be a US Open champion as well. We'll have to wait and see on that. But one thing's guaranteed. Novak Djokovic will extend his weeks at number 1 after this US Open.
Yeah, and he's already the all-time leader with 389 weeks. All he's going to do is extend that lead at the top. I think we're going to see a little back and forth, though, between Djokovic and Alcaraz. I wouldn't be surprised if Alcaraz has another chance to become world number 1. I've not looked at how it all works, but I think that's more than likely that Alcaraz will creep back up in there because, of course, Djokovic, he's defending the ATP finals, right, at the end of the year. And Alcaraz didn't even play it last year. So that's going to be a really big differential and allowing him to maybe gain a few extra points there for sure. So Alcaraz can definitely get number one, but Djokovic doing amazing. And I think it's a record now with him keep getting there, which is going to be very difficult for anyone to ever surpass. I know some people said that in the past with Federer, but this Djokovic one seems to be one which I don't think will be broken. This is a good graphic because this was his potential route to the US Open final. And I thought it would be interesting because you can see how much it's already been dismembered in round one or even day one, because round one's still going to be going on today. We're going to be covering some matches and we'll do our day two summary, just like this one, tomorrow at a similar time, maybe a little bit earlier. So please join us for these daily updates. But you can see from the graphics, I'll let you go through it because your eyesight's slightly better than mine.
Yes, the two main people are possibly the two hardest matches. The people with good head-to-heads against Djokovic, Felix 1-1 against Djokovic in head-to-heads, out. Holger Rune leading the head-to-head against Djokovic, out. So now all he's left with is Stefanos Tsitsipas, who he has won the last 10 matches against, or maybe Laslo Djere. He had a close... He's only played him once, and you've covered the match against Laslo Djere, and it was about 4 hours long, if I'm right. Was that right? And it was in Serbia.
Clay court. On a
clay court.
I don't think it will be close if they were to play on a hard court, but maybe one of his toughest matches.
Yeah, well,
it sounds insane, but it's opened up so nicely for him. I'm not going to say anything about Felix. I don't think Felix would have ever done anything to Djokovic, even if he stumbled his way to that round. But Holger Rune is a big advantage for Djokovic, not having to face him, because if he got to that round, what would it be? The semi-finals?
Yep.
It would have been a Holger Rune playing in really good form and full of confidence. And that one could have been a bit of a 50-50, maybe 60-40 towards Djokovic for that big fight, sort of best of five factor. But Holger Rune has shown time and time again on a big stage he can beat Djokovic in Masters finals. So I actually think it's a real big let-off for Novak. Tsitsipas, I don't think would trouble him, but Tsitsipas did do very well. And maybe we'll go to that match next because he played Raonic, someone who's got really good pedigree in Grand Slams, who's coming back from an injury, and he's got a really good head-to-head against Tsitsipas. I mean, before yesterday...
it was 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2-0. Tsitsipas had never beaten him, and there was all straight sets as well. Straight sets at the Australian Open and straight sets at Cincinnati. So all on hard courts, but Tsitsipas was able to beat him very convincingly, and I was surprised about that. I thought Raonic would have been good value for a set, but he wasn't, and it was 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, under 2 hours. Is Steph playing a little bit better in fact that he can maybe trouble Djokovic, or is it too early to say?
Definitely too early to say, but I like the fact that he came out all guns blazing. This is the type of Tsitsipas performance that we need in a slam in the early rounds, especially because if you're going to catch Steph out, you're going to catch him out in the first few rounds because he either has a terrible tournament or he goes deep, it seems, at Grand Slams. So he's got this one out the way, which is sort of a bogey player, which is Milos Raonic. Next round... let's have a quick look at who Steph will be playing in the next round, because then we can really start to build a picture. Dominic Stricker in the next round. Winnable again. And he doesn't have to play Poprin, which I think may be a more difficult matchup for Tsitsipas. So
let's be honest, Ben. Tsitsipas is on that half of the draw without all of the big players. He's on the Djokovic side, so he's got an opportunity as well. So actually we keep saying Djokovic is an easy draw. Really, Tsitsipas... when he was playing a lot better, sort of 2 years ago, I would say, when he was really playing well, at that period, like right now, like he should be looking at this as such a good opportunity because if he could somehow get through Djokovic, I mean, he is the favourite to get to the final from that side.
His section's tougher though than Djokovic.
It is a tougher section, but still he's on the better half. He avoids the likes of Daniel Medvedev, someone who's beaten him time and time again. Carlos Alcaraz, who he can't get anywhere near.
Yeah,
that's just two examples.
Sinner, yeah.
Sinner, another one. I'm not sure where Rublev is. Is Rublev on the other side as well?
Andre Rublev. Let me just have a look. Yeah, because he's has a potential matchup with Medvedev, doesn't he? So yeah,
exactly.
it would be. Yeah.
Crazy.
So that section for if you look at Djokovic and Tsitsipas's sections, though, I mean, Tsitsipas would have Stricker, then maybe Eubanks, then maybe Fritz. So it's tougher than Djokovic's at the moment. Could be Laszlo Djere, and then maybe, I don't know, out of the others, Vesely, maybe. I mean, if he has to play Vesely, probably won't like that. That's one player I'm sure out of all of those he's looking at going, I hope he doesn't make it through. Bit of a bogey player. But
I think he'll be all right. I mean, Zverev, another one who's on the other side. So Berrettini, it's honestly, Steph has got such an opportunity here. And I want to close the section talking about Steph, talking about Badoza, because I thought you have to speak about them two together. And Badoza's someone who's pulled out of the US Open, as we all know, and she's put out a tweet saying she's not going to be playing tennis now for the rest of the year. So, Sister Doza is in half at the moment with tennis, but I'm sure we're going to see plenty of Instagram updates.
Yep, I'm sure we will. That's very sad news. But at least she's there supporting Tsitsipas as well. So she's not going to just completely jet off. Let's move on to the next one. This one, another Novak Djokovic stat. And it says 18. Novak Djokovic's win was also the 18th time he secured the first set 6-love at a Grand Slam. Djokovic has the most opening set bagels of any male in the Open era at Grand Slams. Rafa Nadal with 13, the next best. Momentum. Yeah, massive statistic that. And like you said, starting the Grand Slam very, very fast. And it's scary for his next opponent. I'm sure Zapata Miralles will receive similar treatment in the next round. Let's move on to the match that was actually before Djokovic, though. This was one I was watching just before I went to bed and didn't manage to finish the whole thing. But I just thought, I can see how this match is going now. It is Coco Gauff. And like she says here, she was asked, nothing easy about that match. Describe what it was like to play. Coco said, slow. I know, a little bit of
So this is the match that happened before Djokovic, like you said, and it's the one what kept everyone waiting because a lot of people were expecting Coco to go out there and win in straight sets. It wasn't the case. Majorly credit to Laura Siegemund. I thought you can't take too much away from Coco Gauff in the fact that she wasn't playing bad. I just feel Siegemund had a game plan. She was coming to the net, volleying very well. She looked extremely pumped and focused and wasn't really missing much. But Coco's quality sort of come through. The whole match, though, what she was doing was making Coco wait. And you could see it was really frustrating her, which ended in a third set outburst. I don't know if you've got another tweet. I think maybe it shows it a little bit better. But this you can speak about that. Yeah, that's a good one. Go back.
Go to this one
go back to the other one, sorry.
Yeah, so we can see it.
Yeah, so we can actually see it. So this was the incident in the third set where she was basically ready to serve. She served, and then the umpire called it back because Siegemund wasn't even ready. She was walking towards the baseline, taking her time. She was doing it throughout the whole match. Coco went to the umpire, complained about it. Some people are criticising her, saying, Coco's shown her true colours. She's aggressive. She's this, she's that.
Rubbish.
I think it's absolute rubbish. I think she was well within her right to say something. It was obvious the tactic Siegemund was deploying. Yeah. And if anything, I think Coco Gauff should have done it a little bit sooner.
Well, I want to jump on that point as you say that. It's interesting now that we get to hear the coaches, and I like the fact they're all mic'd up now, because throughout the whole of the second set, Brad Gilbert, her coach, was constantly saying she's every time that Siegemund's serving, it goes to 0. Tell the umpire. Make sure, he kept saying it. It's gone to 0 again. Tell the umpire. It's gone to 0 again. Keep telling the umpire because she's going over her time limit every single time. At one point, Siegemund went and approached the umpire and complained and said, are you being serious? This first game of the second set was 27 minutes long. She said, we've been out here for 27 minutes and I'm serving. You can't start it before I've even been to the towel. I sort of felt a bit sorry for her a little bit, but she was doing it throughout the whole of the match as well. It wasn't just that game. But Coco was just being encouraged by her coach to go and confront the umpire, and she has to take everything that she says from her coaches. If she's going to become the great player that we think that she can be, she has to take the advice. She can't just do everything off her own back. There's a lot going on the court, and I think it was the right call. I think if your coach says make her, you could see she was nervous about even approaching the umpire about it, whereas Brad Gilbert's like, make a point of it, go stand up for yourself, like that type of thing. Like, okay, good, I like that type of thing.
But and sorry, on your point of all players should listen to their coach, do you really believe that? Because look at Djokovic, for example, Goran Ivanisevic saying things to him. How many times do you see him disagree and argue with him, and you feel like he says something and he does something completely opposite?
I feel like this is this is completely different, because she has been struggling with certain elements of her game, and I feel that she's got so much more room for improvement. If there's other people picking up the other loose parts of her game, like this isn't even in play. This is stuff which is going on around the play. If they can pick up on that for her, she does one less thing to think about. She can just focus on the tennis. So I think it's a good thing that they are picking that sort of stuff up for her and just letting her play tennis. And they kept on. Well, Brad Gilbert was relentless on it, and he was just saying, just because otherwise she was going to keep getting away with it. And I think that was the thing. Make a point of it early so that the umpire doesn't just allow her to get away with it. And obviously she had to have a word with Siegemund. She had some warnings in that match as well. I don't think every player should be listening to their coach 100%, because I don't think you can do that. I feel that you have to play your game, and if you're constantly listening all the time, you're not in the zone.
No, I like players having to work. I'm a bit old school in the fact that all this on-court coaching, I know you like it. It's not bad listening in on it sometimes, but I don't think it's that necessary. I liked it before. I like the problem solving of the player in real time, dealing with situations which occur on a tennis court, and then problem solving on how they're going to deal with it, overcome it, and be better. I find that as big as important as hitting a big winner down the line, for example. That's all part of the whole package, and I've always enjoyed that element of it, because I would like to say that when I play tennis, I feel like the formulating of an idea and a plan is something which I spend a lot of time on, and I enjoy that side because I'm probably better than the actual tennis. So I can use that to my advantage in certain situations. And I think that's an important skill in not just tennis, but a lot of sports, tennis more so than others. But if we just go back one, we can see what Coco Gauff had to say about the incident. I'll let you read it out, because
no worries.
I'm not there yet.
If I could do it all over again, I would have said something earlier, maybe on a changeover. Other than that, I don't regret talking to the ref the way I did. I actually watched the video when I was talking, when I was taking an ice bath, because I wanted to make sure before I came in here. Sometimes you have these emotions and you forget what you said. I'd still say everything I said in that moment again, and I think that's fair enough. I don't think she said anything that was too crazy. I think that she just stood up for herself in a moment and how she felt. I think if you take away emotions of players, then we're going to go down in a completely different route in tennis. It's going to be totally boring. So we've got to have the passion. We've got to have a little bit of, I don't know, heads button, I feel, on a tennis court, because it's a competition. It's rivalry. People are going to get under each other's skin. It's good for the sports in certain way. And the fact that they were cheering missed serves and stuff. We get it at the US Open, but I just don't like that about if there's a double fault or a missed serve, don't start applauding all this type of thing. I don't care if there's a big moment and they want to go crazy. And even though they booed her, I'm not even that bothered about that. But just don't. There has to be some class. A little bit. Keep it to just a minimal.
Yeah. Even looking at Coco Gauff there, do you not think now we're starting to see her moving from that sort of girl type face to like a woman? It's like, definitely. I feel we're getting that change. We're seeing it in her results. She's just won Cincinnati. She's not scared. She's always someone who's very vocal. She'll speak out when she wants to on topical issues. And I'm rooting for her. I would like to see her do really well here at the US Open. And this was a really good, difficult match to get through, because Siegemund played well and she did extremely well to get through it in the manner she did, with all of the extra things happening. But let's move on. So we spoke about Djokovic. We spoke about Coco Gauff. There's some big stories. Where do you want to go to next? Iga?
Iga it is. And we've got a stat to start us off with Iga saying 16. Iga Swiatek has won her last 16 Grand Slam first rounds with only 4.2 games dropped on average per match. And there's a list of all of them here. I don't know if you want me to read them all out.
No.
I mean, if you don't, then if you're only listening, jump onto YouTube and check out the video. You can see there's a big list of all of these 6 loves and 6 ones.
Yeah, it's pretty much always straight sets every single time. Never 3 sets.
Yeah.
And a lot of bagels, a lot of breadsticks. I don't think there's really many matches without a breadstick or a bagel. The odds one here or there.
Yeah, it's a couple. Yeah.
But it's insane, really. Just sort of highlights how good she is against lesser opposition in an opening round of a Grand Slam. She is someone who rises to the big occasion in a Grand Slam. Someone who doesn't rise to the big occasion is Maria Sakkari. She's pretty much the opposite to this, what we're seeing with Iga. And she was a big seed to go out. Of course, the number 8 in the world. I think is she the 8th seed? I'm not sure who else pulled out.
8th seed, yeah.
She went out straight sets. Masarova again. She's been out pretty much first round every Grand Slam this year. And even if you look to last year, it was not great. There's a lot of second rounds and third rounds in there. She's clearly struggling. There was an interview she did. I've not caught it all, but I saw some quotes. And she was speaking about maybe taking a break from tennis, trying to get things together. She felt nervous on the court. And someone of her ability, I don't think you should be... I think nerves are healthy. I think it's good to feel nerves in sporting moments. But for her, clearly, it's on the side of where it's not healthy. And she needs to get something together. I feel like there's a little bit of anxiety and a few mental battles she's having to face because... she's just not quite there because she's far better than a lot of these players. She has the ability to go semi-finals here. I had her go in there in my bracket. I think she's a quality player on her day. She could beat Masarova comfortably. But there's a bigger issue here, and I won't be surprised if we see her take this break from tennis, and maybe it's the best thing she'll do.
Quite possible. I mean, where do we go next with her? I mean, all she's going to be doing is going into another tournament, and if she keeps performing okay in and around the Grand Slams, great. But the slams are where you're going to be judged. That's the real meat of the tour. That's where even the neutrals, you get found out about by neutral fans who are just coming in for slams, and all they're seeing this year is Maria Sakkari going out early exit after early exit. I feel that she does need to go and maybe not like therapist or something like that, but we know that Saba had real problems with the serve in the mental block. She's managed to iron that out somehow. So maybe
a little bit. It's still there, and I feel like these things will never really leave you.
No,
you either got it or you don't.
Mask
on the
it
big
a bit.
sporting. It's something you either have or you don't on the big sporting stage, and I don't think she's going to have that real winning ability. Sadly, she's technically brilliant, but beyond that, I think it's going to be tough. Just one more on Iga, that she could become the youngest player since Venus Williams to defend the women's singles title at the US Open. There was another tweet as well with all of the years of the last, I think it's the last 5 Grand Slams in the women's, and the average age is something like 20. Oh, here we go. You got it here. 20 years and 7 months. I didn't think this was on here, but it's fascinating to see the women's US Open is being won regularly by young players. And maybe that's something we should have taken into consideration in our champions. I guess I did because I've got Iga. I'm not sure if you did. Oh, you did. Coco Gauff. There we go.
Yeah.
So Coco Gauff, I feel, would be very fitted.
Yeah. She had to squeeze right in there. Most definitely.
It looked good.
There's part of me that feels that if she was to win it, Coco Gauff, I mean, and it's a long way to go, but the one thing takeaway from her match, which I was really happy about, was fighting against adversity. We've seen Coco Gauff been one of those players susceptible to an early round exit as well. And I feel that there's a list of players that you need to sort of get yourself out of that list. Like Sakkari was one of them. I feel like Coco Gauff was sort of in that beatable category. Ons Jabeur, she sometimes has the ability to go out early as well. I think if you start putting it together in these slams and becoming more of a consistent player, then the whole tour will notice. And I feel that wow, exactly. And that was one of the big picks. I knew she was going to go out first round, called it. Bernarda Pera knocks out Kudermetova straight away.
Wow, you're Australian Open champion as well.
I know, mate. She's dead to me after that.
You're never ever going to live that one down, I feel. It will never leave my mind. But,
it could have been Coco Gauff last night as well. This is what I mean. That's if you take a punt on like a player who's never won one before, be prepared for the risk that involves, because you could have an early exit on your hands. But I'm fingers crossed on Coco. She showed signs that she was coming back.
Is she there?
Must be. She's in there somewhere. Let's go to somebody else who had an early exit though.
Well, there's two more. So we've done Sakkari. Let's speak about Holger Rune, and then afterwards Felix, because Felix is someone we don't need to tweet for. Let's quickly speak about him, because I think there's a lot of similarities between Sakkari in terms of quality of player and ability.
Yeah.
The only difference is I feel not so much of it's mental. I do feel there is an element of that, considering he went to so many finals and lost so many before he was even able to win one. I think maybe there could be some physical problems with him. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but what's going on? I mean, he's just losing every single match. It's been terrible. First round, every slam.
Literally, I've not seen... I can't believe that the back end of last year we were even singing his praises now.
He's one of the best players going into the ATP finals in that indoor hard courts.
It's just nuts. I mean, I'm just having a look. Yeah, first round.
Very dismal fall.
It's literally nearly the mirror image of Maria Sakkari. I think Sakkari got third round at the Australian Open and then all first round exits.
I feel like that's why it's good to speak to them speak about them together.
And look at this. I mean, if you even go back further, last US Open, second round. Wimbledon last year, first round. So both Wimbledons, the last two.
And he's brilliant on grass as well. It's just not unacceptable, really. I'm not sure what's going on. I feel there's got to be some physical problems. I don't think there is so many physical issues with Sakkari, because she spoke out about the mental problems. But maybe a lot of it is just purely mental with Felix as well. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm not sure if Tony Nadal's still working with him. I think he is. But that relationship has to end. Like, I feel like that needs to be terminated immediately. It's clearly not working. And on Holger Rune, let's move away from Felix and Sakkari.
Yeah.
This was one I didn't really see coming at all. He was the fourth seed coming into this event. So he had his own quarter, his own photo on a quarter, which is obviously quite a big moment as a tennis player. And he put a tweet out about him being on court 5. I don't know if you saw it. It was a bit sort of tongue-in-cheek. Maybe you can read it out afterwards. But this is what he said here. He said, it's not difficult, but it's different. You're closer to all of the people. It's a nice atmosphere. No problem with the court. I just didn't expect to play on that court. I feel like it's normal. The better you get in the rankings, the more benefits you should get by playing in better conditions. I think that's a normal way, and it's how the ATP does with all of the players. But they didn't do it with me here, so it's obviously disappointing. But I'm not going to blame the court on the loss. He played very, very solid. Credit to him. And then he went on to say how playing in the US, there was a lot of American players put on the better courts in front of him. He said he plays in France a lot, and the same thing happens there, so he's kind of used to it. I think it's a little bit too many excuses from Holger Rune. I don't think you can blame the courts on your loss. Let's be honest, it's court 5. It's not exactly playing up the local park. I'm sure court 5 wasn't that bad. And it's not. I don't think it's necessarily the court, but it's of course the crowd. Maybe there's not so many rules in terms of they're a bit closer. But I don't know. I think you just need to get over it. To be honest, it's far too many excuses. Let the tennis do the talking. You should be winning that match against Carlos Alcaraz, who's never beaten a top 10 player at all before yesterday. What went wrong, Ben?
It's a very, very good question. I feel I had one eye on Holger Rune just because I was concerned about the way that he obviously withdrew in Cincinnati. He had it. it was a back problem apparently that he withdrew from that one. Anybody who withdrew, we thought it's all precautionary. He hasn't mentioned any like injuries or anything in this post-match thing, so I'm assuming
I think he did. I think there was some talk of injury, but we just don't have it on the screen.
Okay, so maybe there was something small there. I feel that he does have a bee in his bonnet, feeling like he shouldn't have been on that court. I feel you have to just deal with it. If you're a good enough tennis player, which he clearly is, that you don't go on the court with a bad attitude because you may come off losing.
Do you feel like he got in his own head a little bit, just thinking about that?
Most definitely. He tweeted about it before he'd even played. He was like, "Oh, if anybody doesn't know where my court is, if my court's going to be over the back somewhere, like you probably don't know where it is," or it's just. Why are you tweeting that? Just if people want to come watch you, they'll come watch you. They know you're a good player. Just say, I'm just going to be playing on court 5 today. See everybody there. Come support me. Don't have to say like, oh, it's the one which is hard to find. And it's a very strange. And he's lost now 6 matches in a row, which is a bit crazy. Like coming into this match.
For his ability as well, it is insane. And he's a young player. And we know what it's like with young players. How many young players do the crowds not get behind? Like everyone will always root for the young player, but it's a bit different with Holger Rune because he's kind of been the young player who's played this villain role throughout his start to now.
Yep.
And maybe it'll work out for him, but I think he's going to lose a lot of fans in the process of being this character. So I'm not sure if he's necessarily this villain he sometimes portrays himself to be.
No, I mean, I feel that he only has himself to blame. The thing with playing the villain role, you have to play exceptional tennis to be able to get people back on your side again. And he hit like 43 unforced errors in yesterday's match, which was over double of his opponent. And when that's happening, you know it's going to be a very, very tough day at the office. Credit to Tobias Bainer. I know we always go on about the person who got knocked out, but then some players have to step up to be able to knock out such a good player. And Tobias Bainer is one of those weird players that he can have that effect on some players. I'm more on clay, though.
Yeah. No, he's a good player. And also, I've seen him play well on the hard courts as well. I remember I think he beat Shapo when Shapo was playing quite well in Australia one time. And he had some. I've seen Tobias Bainer play some good tennis, and he's someone who can turn up to beat a good player. So it's a tough first round for Rune, but should have won.
Yeah, most definitely. Anyway, he's out of Djokovic's side, so Djokovic probably just chuckling to himself. I wonder what he was thinking looking at that. I mean, he wouldn't really fear anybody at the moment, Novak Djokovic, but when you remove a few players from there, I think he would fear the unknown more than he would fear players that he's played before right now. So someone like a Eubanks or someone come flying through in the US would be more scary to a Djokovic, I feel, at the moment, than the likes of a Tsitsipas or a Holger Rune, people like that. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But who else we got? No, let's talk about someone more positive, because where we had him dropping out, we had some guy who was back. And it was the US Open champion from 2020, Dominic Thiem. Come on. He is back. And he absolutely destroyed Sasha Bublik, didn't he? Straight sets win for Dominic Thiem, and his first win since that final when he won against Sasha Zverev. So from one Sasha to another Sasha, that's where he gets his wins at the US Open, by the looks of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've already spoke about this one on the news video. Go check it out if you want to see my initial reaction. Really happy for Dominic Thiem, and he's got, I think, a really tough match next in Ben Shelton, which I've also tipped to go very far. So I'm a bit torn, actually. I don't know. Do I want my bracket to be right, or do I want Dominic Thiem? It's a bit of a win-win because I'm happy for Thiem.
Yeah.
But I've got Shelton going all the way to the semi-finals, which some people have called me crazy for. Certainly very possible. But the big incident in this one, which I want to speak about, is actually Sasha Bublik and some of the comments he made during the match.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to bring it up.
Did you send me a tweet for that one as well?
I thought I did, but if not...
We can just speak about it, and I'll bring it up. But he was actually referring to not only Dominic Thiem, but he was referring. Oh yeah, you did give it to me. Here we go. 1 second, I'll just pop that on the screen. He was talking about some of the other older players on the tour as well.
Yeah, so Dominic Thiem was asked about Bublik saying, "I'm sick of giving careers back to disabled people during the match." I've seen the video of Bublik saying this as well. A bit of a weird thing to pose to Dominic Thiem, because I don't know how he's going to respond in person live, thrown at him in the press conference. Not very easy to handle. He said, "I don't know if the translation is right. You know, if it is, then it's a tough saying. Something you shouldn't say in general, just out of respect. But maybe he didn't mean it in that way or whatever.
Probably a joke. But
what can I say about it? No, I don't think it was a joke. I've seen it. I think it's out of pocket. I don't think you should be saying that. I don't like it at all. I think it's very offensive. And Bublik, for me, should be fined. I think it was really disrespectful. I don't like it at all. I don't think you should ever speak about disabilities in a way which he has done. I think I just don't like it. I think it makes him. Who does he think he is? That's what I'm saying. Who is he? He's not exactly a world beater. I mean, he loses an awful lot of tennis matches. So I don't like him saying that. I think it's really wrong, and I want him to be punished for it, because I'm not offended by it, because it doesn't offend me, but I can understand how some people could have created a lot of offence and upset some people. So I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit difficult for him to have such a strong opinion when he hasn't really amounted to that much in his career so far. And he's talking about people who are Grand Slam champions as well. These aren't people who are just like any other run-of-the-mill players that he's speaking about. You just need to watch what you're saying on a tennis court, because, one, if he didn't mean it, then why bother saying it anyway? Because it's going to get blown out of proportion by media and by everybody. And if you did mean it, then you're just going to lose a lot of face and a lot of fans, and you're going to get, especially at the US Open, that's the main place to get booed out of everywhere in any tournament. So,
he doesn't need to worry, because he's out anyway.
Exactly. Here you go. There's a bit more. I'll pop my little tweet up that I did, and we've got Dominic Thiem, who's back to the future in this one. He's posing as Marty McFly here, and then we've got Bublik there as I thought I'd put him as the bad guy from Back to the Future. And then we've got, apparently Zverev is his best mate, so I put him over there as the doc. And then we've got his girlfriend there, and then his coach there as well. So a champion returns. And then you got here the US Open round 2 there on the car. Right. Little thing just to finish on.
Yeah, it's a great meme. That sums up a lot of the top stories for day one. Just a quick fire on some other things. Of course, Offner, friend of the podcast, went through against Borges. Go sign up to the Patreon if you want to watch me and Ben playing with Offner. That is on the Patreon. You're able to see it if you sign up. Casper Ruud got through Neva. He looked really not great, but managed to do it. Fucsovic beat Korda, another one, which is a bit of a surprise. Fucsovic started the year in a 5-set victory with his top off, looking all ripped in Australia. He's done the same pose at the end of this year in the Slam. Another hard court, just tensing. I mean, his biceps are absolutely insane. And you got it up, do you? There we go. Just for everyone. This is how he ends the year. It's absolutely enormous. But that's another one out there. In terms of the men's, Chris Eubanks won. We spoke about some of the other ones. On the women's, I think we've been through most of the ones. Azarenka won straight sets. Mukova looked really good, one of the best players in the opening rounds. Hadid Maya come through against Sloane Stephens in a tough 3-set match. Rybakina managed to beat Kostyuk, and a lot of people saying maybe that could be an upset, but it wasn't. And Tomljanovic back in action playing tennis. We know she did extremely well last year at the US Open, and she's followed it up with a good win against Udvardy. So some players to watch out for. We're going to be covering some matches today, so stay tuned on the channel, and we'll give you another daily update, hopefully a little bit earlier tomorrow. But for now, we'll leave you. Join the Patreon to watch me and Ben play against the legend from Austria, and we're not talking about Dominic Thiem, but Sebastian Offner, and we'll see you very soon. Like and subscribe.
See you later.